God raises up leaders in times of chaos and uncertainty. I love that. We need God to do that in this season of chaos and uncertainty. And why? So that young people and children might come to understand who they are and whose they are as they walk this journey of recovery. We want to see them take ownership of their faith and to live wholeheartedly as followers of Jesus for the transformation of the world. To do this, they need significant adults willing to journey with them. What a privilege that is. What an opportunity. We've been hearing that in some contexts, there's a real shortage of people willing to step back into roles that serve children and young people. Some have been doing it for decades, and the pandemic has allowed them to set it down, and they don't want to pick it back up again. Some have got used to their space in life and like it. Some are just tired and can't see how they could have the energy to do it again. Some churches were struggling before the pandemic, and it's worse now. This hasn't been an easy season. So how do we inspire people to want to serve young people and children, or continue to serve young people and children? Leanne and I are going to have a little bit of a chat today around some of the ways in which we can maybe inspire, challenge, excite people about their role with young people and children. We believe the whole church has a role with young people and children, but there are some people who God calls to specific roles. So we're going to talk a little bit about all of that today. So as I said, Leanne and I are going to have a little chat. And we're going to go through a number of points just that we've been thinking about. And I wonder if the first thing that we need to be really clear about is why we're doing what we're doing. Yeah. So that we need to maybe refine or renew our vision. So I wonder, do we need to be intentional as a group of leaders or as a church about hearing from God and finding out what God wants in this season? I think we need to make our vision clear and simple. Can you articulate it in less than a minute? Consider, does it answer the question, what difference does our presence make in the lives of people and young people? People and young people?
Children.
Children and young people was the word I was looking for, Leanne. Leanne, what would you say to those struggling to renew vision in this season? Do you think people are struggling?
Yeah, and I think that's a real concern for people actually, especially leaders who have been doing this throughout the pandemic, and actually they're just so tired and exhausted, and over the summer especially they just want a break. But actually to take a step back and think about, you know what, why did I start doing what I do, full stop? Yeah. Think about the children, young people in your life, whether that is your kids, your grandkids, your neighbours' kids, your nieces and nephews, whoever that might be. But actually, what is God's heart for them? And ask God that. And I don't think this needs to be a well articulated or theological vision that we come up with to share with the church. But actually, what is your heart? What is God's heart for those children and young people that you get to serve? And that can be so simple. We want them to know God. We want them to know who they are and whose they are. We want them to grow as disciples. It doesn't have to be some big theology degree or anything, as I said, but actually just what is God's heart and what is your heart? Yeah. So, it doesn't need to be complicated. Just keep it simple.
Yeah, I think sometimes we overcomplicate it, don't we?
Totally.
And actually to communicate it well so that other people come with you, making it as simple as possible and getting right to the core of what we're about is really key.
And people really hear that heart stuff. Yep. They see your heart. So even as you talk to people about that, actually, they want to be a part of that too. They see your heart. They don't just hear the words. That whole actually, how do you make people feel? That's the stuff we remember, not what we say necessarily, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder, do we need to tell some stories?
Yeah.
So encourage one another by answering some questions together, like what difference or impact has walking alongside young people and children made in your life?
Yeah.
So some people who are already serving in young people and children, and what have you seen God do in the lives of young people and children? So if we start to share some of those stories, we might get others inspired to join in. I wonder, could we record a bit of a behind the scenes video of what's been going on among young people and children? Or what about asking even young people and children to share what they appreciate about their youth and children's leaders? I think telling stories. We've discovered, I think, during this pandemic, haven't we, that there's real power in a story, real power in sharing what God has been doing. And He has continued to work through the midst of this.